Intel shares hit 52-week highs on Thursday with enthusiasm over the chipmaker's sold-out AI CPU capacity and reports of a potential partnership with Apple. But at CES, Intel took a more back-to-basics approach, focusing on how its new chip will perform rather than touting its AI features. Yahoo Finance tech editor Dan Howley was there at CES watching all of the action and the back-to-basics approach of Intel. So tell us about what you thought the vibe was from them.
It was honestly very high. I mean, outside of NVIDIA, I think the vibe for Intel was probably the biggest. Mostly because this is their first chip that they're launching on their 18A platform. This has been their kind of long gestating technology that they've been working on. And it's important in that this is key to their turnaround effort. I got to see the chip itself. Also in Lego form, it was pretty cool. And see it running on these different devices. And so, they're saying 27 hours of battery life. That would be better than what you get from a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro. And Apple really kind of went ahead with this kind of idea of performance and long-lasting battery life, and that's really been a boon for it. AMD did the same thing. Intel was kind of left in the dust. Qualcomm's come in and said, hey, we could do that. Now Intel is getting that together. And so I didn't get to try out the battery life on these things, but I will say I did get to try out some games, which is a good estimator of how good the performance is. And I was blown away. I mean, this is stuff that you wouldn't see from an Intel chip or any other chip, really, as far as capabilities go. And so that, I think, is something that was really worth noting, that they just kept talking about 27 hours of battery life, the NPU that they have, which, that runs AI apps. I think the reality is most people still use AI in the cloud. They don't necessarily use it on device. And, while Intel is still talking about the AI PC that Microsoft likes to plug, that Copilot Plus PC. I do think that generally the overall vibe was, hey, we have a great chip now, and people should be excited about this. And so that's what I think the big takeaway was. And for a company like Intel to kind of do this 180, to go from, cool, we got chips, to, hey, we have a great chip coming out and we're going to be building on that, I think was really huge.
Well, and now there's some speculation about Intel in talks with Apple about regaining them maybe as a customer. What do we know about that, and what should we be looking for?
Yeah, this was a report a while back, but well before CES, and then the other day, President Trump was getting off or getting on Air Force One. It was a gaggle that he was doing at the press, and he had kind of had an offhanded comment about, helping Intel with Apple, so that could lend to the idea that perhaps this deal that was originally reported is coming to fruition. Regardless, it would be incredibly interesting, just, from a technology, industry watcher, because Intel was originally in Apple's MacBooks.
Right.
Didn't do that well. Apple wanted more control over design. Now they're potentially saying, we'll go back to Intel because your chips are doing
right, or maybe even invest in Intel in some way.
I mean, that would be huge.
Unclear what it is, but we'll be watching it. Thanks so much, Dan.
Big turnaround, maybe.
Yes.